All right, continuing on. Here's some information about procurement. Those rules are set forth by ADE and the Auditor General's Office. Requisitions must be created prior to any purchase. So even though you have funds in your account, you must have a PO first before you are able to make any purchases with a vendor or expend money that you're hoping to get reimbursed for. We encourage small open POs for emergencies. You have an event on the weekend and you need something from Lowe's or Home Depot or something like that. It'd be great if you had a small $50 PO open so that you could go make that purchase. And we have a ton of approved vendors. We prefer that you use those when possible. But if there's a vendor that doesn't take a PO, we can do a reimbursement POs to you to handle those expenses in those rare occasions. All orders must be delivered to the warehouse. That's how we know the item came and that it's okay to pay for. The exception to that is large, heavy deliveries. If we have furniture or something like that that's delivered, we deliver that to a school site and we take care of that, checking in through the warehouse process over at the schools. And then the exception also is if you pick up items directly, such as Sam's Club or Walmart, just make sure you turn in those receipts quickly because it gets difficult with three schools and about to be a fourth here soon using credit cards. It's important that we stay on top of those receipts and pay those timely so that we can keep those credit cards open for you all to use. You must have the PO to yourself already approved prior to the purchase if you want to get reimbursed. You need to submit original itemized receipts. And again, we have approved vendors that accept POs, so please use those whenever possible. That is, sometimes the procurement rules are very difficult because they're not always guaranteed to save you money. It's that you've had a process that is allowable through the state's eyes that we use. Most of the time it saves money, but sometimes we need to use vendors that accept POs because that is the process outlined by the state and the AG's office. So here's one of the forms. I know this one's really busy to look at on the screen, but the more information that you provide us and the information to your bookstore person is the better we can make sure that we're ready to serve you and get this turned around, especially this bottom right corner when you need something quickly or if there's an emergency kind of thing and you need it turned around quickly. Please identify that so we can prioritize that when it arrives at the business office. Fundraisers must be approved by site administration before they happen. They must identify what the money is being raised for and the information that's been communicated to donors and supporters. And if multiple clubs are involved, the money split must also be identified. Again, sometimes we have issues where a donor is given money for something and then it's spent on something else, and that creates some hard feelings and some questions that we don't really want to get into. So please be as forthcoming as you can with your parents and your community members that are involved in your programs. Encourage tax credit contributions. It helps our donors and taxpayers take a tax deduction or tax credit off their state forms. And then it also allows us to raise money in a pretty quick fashion. All funds must be deposited and then requisitioned for expenditures. So if you're doing a fundraiser, for instance, there's a car wash or something and you guys generate cash, you can't just take that to Walmart and spend it. You need to deposit the money and then requisition it out. And again, that goes back to the fraud stuff before, as people have done that and done inappropriate things. And now there's all these rules in place to make sure that doesn't happen. Turn in money quickly to the bookstore front office. We've had issues before where it's been stolen out of cars, file cabinets, desk drawers, etc. So please, people just have a nose for cash and can find it. So please get that turned in as quickly as possible. And InTouch does have a web store attached to the program. We've used it a little bit, not as much as we were hoping to get implemented, but it does have the ability to do the fundraisers for you. So if you're trying to raise money for something, we can set that up on the web store where parents would or community members would pay directly to our website. And that also avoids the fees that are charged by GoFundMe and some of those other organizations. So please work with Vicki on that and we can set that up. I believe what happens is you get a QR code as well that you can share. Parents scan that, it takes you right to the site and they can make contributions. Booster clubs are separate entities from the school district clubs, and auxiliary accounts. So it's very important that we work together, but we got to follow the rules to maintain the compliance. So a true booster club has their own 501c3 or something similar to recognize them as a nonprofit. They're an independent agency, so we can't mingle our funds with the booster club. So no club money can go into the booster club or auxiliary money into a booster club. School district has no control really how that booster club fundings can be spent. Again, you're going to work in conjunction with them in partnership to help guide those expenditures, but again, they're a separate entity. If the fundraiser is a booster event and students are involved in the fundraising also, then the students must get a appropriate percentage of the proceeds for the students' effort. So if it's a 50-50 kind of thing where the students are doing 50% of it and adults are doing 50% of the fundraiser, then make sure the students get 50% of that money directly and deposited into the club account. If it's all adults and no kids, then all the funds can go to the Booster Club. That's their fundraiser, and they can do what they want there. But also remember, this is an important one because people get drug into this inadvertently and don't know that this is against the rules. No district staff or coaches can be officers of a booster club. Again, they're separate entities. They have their own tax ID. We have our own tax ID, and you can't be a member of both without a conflict. Food and candy fundraisers. Food and candy must be sold 30 minutes before school and 30 minutes after school, not during school hours. So we have a breakfast and lunch program that's part of the federal government that has very strict requirements on when we can do fundraising. And then also we have a non-compete clause with our food service provider. So there is an exception. Once a month, we're able to do like a school-wide Jamba Juice, Kona Ice. Those are the ones typically we see that student council does. But we have to have prior approval from ADE, so I need to know those dates so we can get those filed with ADE. And again, once a month per school. And this includes also vending machines. They must be off during meal times. All right, all the auxiliary and club forms are located on the district's website. Please keep in mind gift cards are not allowable to be purchased with auxiliary or club money or tax credit money. IRS sees those as a form of payment, so the volunteer at the end of the season, the kids want to recognize that volunteer for doing things for them and for supporting the program and wants to give a $50 or $100 gift card. That's seen the same as paying them as an employee. So it's treated the same as cash also. So please make sure that safeguards are followed anytime that there are any gift cards involved. Again, we don't allow them because of all the issues with it. So please work through your site bookstore person at AD with your questions on requisitions or vendor questions. They can help you as well. And then we're here, business office staff are available for assistance as well. It's just hard when we have 60 or 75 people per campus contacting one person with questions. If you can work through your school site bookstore or your AD, that would help us, and we'll make sure that we help them and support to try to get your answers quickly. Club funds do require meeting minutes with the requisitions, so students raise the money and they decide how it's expensed, but they have to put that in the minutes, what they're raising the money for and what the expenses are going to be. Procurement, there's very specific rules, as we kind of talked about a little bit earlier with auxiliary and student fund money. There's some additional information in the packet that Vicki has on this. Prices are rising, but the quote and bid thresholds still remain the same from the state. So keep in mind that Anthony's doing a presentation on that for purchasing, but we're limited to $10,000 per vendor as a school district, not by school. And so you can tell it wouldn't take very long to get to 10,000 with some of these vendors, and then we're required to get written quotes. So please be aware of that and factor that into your into the time frame of when you need the items. And then plan ahead for the supply line. The delays and delivery challenges have been better, but there's still been issues with that. So make sure that you plan ahead so that you have your items on time when you're ready and need them. Facility or field alterations, we continue to provide equal facilities at each of our comprehensive campuses. While the campuses may look a little different, they're almost identical in the fields and the courts and the PACs that we offer students experiences in. So We want approvals for any alterations. And why is that? Because there's funding sources and availability issues with that. Sometimes there's electrical and IT drops and access required for some of the projects that come up. We want equity between genders because we're required to do that. So if we make an alteration to a boys, for instance, to a boys dugout, we need to do the same enhancement to the girls' dugouts. Long-term maintenance and support costs, we want to make sure we have that factored in to the site's budget if it's something that's going to require maintenance and ongoing efforts. And then also the scheduling of it to make sure that we can get it done and that we have all the parties involved to make sure that it gets successfully completed before you need it for a season or an event. Transportation district vehicles are monitored by GPS software. That's the white fleets and the buses. So please keep in mind video and audio monitoring is on all of these vehicles. So make sure if it's a conversation you're having in the front seat of one of those vehicles that you don't mind it being on video and audio because it will be recorded and it is crystal clear, I have to tell you. When the bus is moving, student riders on white fleets and regular yellow buses must be seated, facing forward with both feet on the floor. And I know we have some very long trips where kids want to kind of spread out and lay across seats or maybe lay across the floor to be comfortable, but it's so unsafe and we cannot allow that. So as sponsors and coaches, make sure you're keeping an eye out for that and directing the students that way to make sure we keep them safe. In the event we have a student or staff injury, please make sure that you alert your administrative teams on your campus. If it's a staff injury, here's the Alliance. They're our workers' comp provider. They will triage you over the phone. Again, if it's an emergency and we need to call 911, call 911. But other smaller things, go through this process and they will direct you from there either to go get treatment or maybe check back the next day, see how you're feeling, and then we can go from there. And you can make that call with your supervisor. If it's a student injury, you complete the student incident injury report. The nurse's offices have those on each of the campuses. Within a few hours, take some notes of the incident details because as time goes on, things get fuzzier and you have a hard time remembering. Collect witness statements if necessary. If it's a serious enough event, make sure that you get some witness statements from other students or staff members or coaches that were at the event or when the injury occurred. Do not comment to parents about how medical bills or anything else will be handled. We have an insurance company that we turn that over to. Their adjusters will work directly with the family and the district is out of it at that point. But make sure you contact your administration and let them know of the incident so they could be prepared to move forward and alert the district office if we need to complete further paperwork. We have a credit card policy here. It's been updated here in line 1. We are now with the Arizona School Risk and Retention Trust Policy Board. So that's the 3-103D you see there in line 1 of the acceptable use. Here's the policies and what is required if you want to use a district credit card. So we have everybody sign off because we have people that travel or need gas cards or want to go to Walmart or Target or whatever, and those are required to make sure that you have anything with the credit card use. And then this is the direct policy from the policy manual for your perusal. So what we'll ask you to do is to sign off on the conflict of interest form, the credit card authorization, and then also that you've seen this presentation. Your principals will have this little packet for you to sign off on here at an upcoming meeting this fall. And appreciate you taking the time to watch the video.